Imagine, you're picking up your child from school, and then bam, they hit you with the "How are babies made?" Having the birds and the bees talk with your child could be very uncomfortable, not only for the parents, but also the child. The children will probably ask some weird question that would probably be something you wouldn't expect them to ask. In the article, what is the birds and the bees phrase? The birds and the bees is a metaphor for explaining the mechanics of reproduction to younger children, relying on the imagery of bees pollinating and eggs hatching to substitute a more technical explanation for sexual intercourse. The age 10 to 13 would be a good time to have the birds and the bees talk to inform them more about the human functionality of sex. But this topic can come up at any time. You can't, you would want the perfect age to be 10 to 13 because they would already have some type of exposure. But then again, it's like the little kids. They could just randomly ask you, how are babies made? So it can bring some type of uncomfortability. But at the point when the child is 10 to 13, if you have not yet had that talk or they haven't asked you, the child would have already been exposed to this topic of sex without the special talk or the birds and the bees talk, just by their surrounding of being around other kids. But now you'll be further elaborating the topic to them. There is no easy way to start this conversation with your child, but there are opportunities. Some opportunities that could approach the conversation with is while watching a TV show or a movie, or maybe even listening to song lyrics. The song "My Humps" by Black Eyed Peas, they actually have this verse where it's like mixing their sperm with their egg and making a baby. Here, listen.
And mix your milk with my cocoa pup. Milky cocoa. Mix your milk with my cocoa pup. Milky, right?
So I don't know if a parent would ever play that song around them, but that is a good example of how to bring up that topic. You could mix your milk with my Cocoa Puff. I feel like it's a good, not good, but it's a way to ease into that kind of conversation without just out the blue, I guess. It's important to talk with your child about this topic. Don't ever talk at them, because I feel like that would bring more uncomfortability and just shyness to the whole thing. I mean, the birds and the bees is already uncomfortable for the parent and the child, but talking at them, it just makes them feel more so in a shell. Ask the question first, do you know what sex is? They'll probably be shy and not know how to answer. Just be patient. Patience and comfortability is key. When you do ask, do you know what sex is? And if they don't answer, slowly guide them into it. I would suggest asking, do you know where babies come from? And they'll probably give you that cliche answer when they hold hands and kiss. That's a good start. Don't knock it, but just guide the conversation further. I feel as though demonstration's good. It helps, I guess, give more of a visual representation of what it is. For this, I'll be using stuffed animals because, unfortunately, I don't have any dolls. But just, I guess, visual representation's easier. If you don't really want to talk about it, you could just holding hands and kissing, and then you can further elaborate the sex part if you are comfortable doing that so quickly. But it's a touchy subject, I get it, but it's mainly comfortability. Demonstration, it's a good go-to if you don't know how to use your words that well. Like me, for example, when I have my kid, I will probably hand them a book, and it's a book that guides them about themselves, and then questions, comments, concerns I would ask, just so that I don't have to give them the full pressure oh my gosh, how do I answer this? It's easier. But this talk will never be comfortable. and that's totally normal. Be understanding and try not to laugh at them because they will ask some silly questions. No doubt about it. I had my little cousin, actually, I was babysitting her, and this question was sprung on me. I was like, oh, and so I just said, you know what, you should ask mom and dad. They will tell you. But don't ever try and make them feel like guilty or even more uncomfortable, because with their tiny little human brains, they don't understand everything yet. So it's easier just to take bits and pieces at a time and not fully rush into it, I guess. Just be more, understand their comfortability level, and everything should be smooth. It's easier to have an open conversation on the birds or the bees and everything in that area, because you don't want them to feel like they can't come to you. Because I feel like it's extremely important to have like kind of a relationship with your kid, to maintain comfortability. Thank you for tuning in.